Here's a few minor but very helpful things to know at the beginning of your honor mode run. One of them is that Shadowheart has access to a really helpful spell that isn't one of her default spells. And specifically, the spell I'm talking about is Command, so you just need to cancel out one of the spells she already knows and replace it. And this is particularly helpful if you want to get the Everburn Blade from the devil in the next room, because in honor mode, realistically, you're not bringing that guy down. The other thing that's worth noting here is there are these captured cultists who are in this dazed state, and they don't really do much unless you interact with the middle panel here. When you push that button, it throws you into a combat. And I know what you're probably thinking, this is honor mode, aren't we supposed to, isn't this the mode where you learn the value of making peace? Well, here's the thing. In honor mode, you need every benefit you can get, including any levels you can get. So, just a little bit more XP from taking out these guys. Of course, Shadowheart missed. Any XP you can get from taking out these guys is just a little bit of a benefit that'll get you to your next level just a little bit sooner. And as you can see, especially if you've got us in the party, this is a really easy combat. I'm doing a Lae'zel origin run, and that's why this guy is here. When you do an origin run, another Githyanki shows up for a little while. You find his body on the beach later on, and you can actually loot his armor and boots, which are better for Shadowheart than the armor and boots she comes equipped with. I'm going to show you a very useful but very easy to miss magic item in the Act 1 of Baldur's Gate 3. We're here in the Emerald Grove and back in the makeshift prison behind where Sazo's cage is. If you come back through here, keep going, and keep going, and come over here. There's a spot here where you can jump down. And a mild perception check will reveal this stone door. Let's just make sure everybody makes it, and they did. In we go. Now, beyond this is an area where there are some traps and a light goblin encounter. There's a druid you can save from the goblins. I've already done this, so we can record this video without you having to sit through that whole fight. So we're going to go ahead and head on in. Now, there are some traps down here, but they're fairly easy to see and disarm. One of them is disarmed with this plate right there, the Rune of the Bear. As we continue along, just want to go up here. Come on, game, catch up with me. I know this is Baldur's Glitch, but we can move a little faster than this. All right. So the chest is back there. It's this heavy chest with 100 hit points. And we're going to go ahead and split up the party, because if we set off the trap, I don't want everybody to be standing next to it when it happens. I should probably get rid of those oil barrels before I do this, but, well, I'm not going to. Anyway, so we're going to have Astarion disarm the trap. Let's see how he does, and got it on the first try. And then we need a lockpick. And there we go. Success on that. So, we have this, Nature's Snare. Now, it's not going to do a lot of damage if it's equipped to Astarion, because it is a strength-based weapon, so we'll hand it off to Lae'zel for right now, and we'll find out what it would do for her. Matter of fact, we'll hand everything off to Lae'zel, because I'm doing a Lae'zel origin run, so she's the only character that truly matters for this playthrough. So, what does Nature's Snare actually do? On a character with decent strength, it does 4 to 11 damage. Not very impressive, but what is impressive about it is this ensnare ability. So, once a creature is ensnared, attacks against it have advantage, while its attack rolls and dexterity throws have disadvantage. So basically, it's not a good weapon for a rogue, but it's a great weapon for a party that has a rogue, such as Astarion. For right now, we'll go ahead and equip it to Shadowheart. And maybe later on when I get Karlach in the party, I'll go ahead and give that weapon to her or something like that. But that is a really handy weapon. Not only does it do respectable damage, it also can give other characters advantage on their attacks against the target. It's a great weapon for monks. It's a great weapon for any party that has rogues in it. And it's not hard to get to. There's only 4 goblins you have to take on down here. It's an encounter I usually deal with at level 2. Happy gaming! Getting ready to take on Priestess Gut here in the Goblin Temple. Lae'zel has got the Brood Mother's Revenge amulet, and that allows her to poison things after she's been healed. So we're just going to have her take a quick healing potion, so she'll do another kind of damage, but it's actually going to be Shadowheart who starts the ball. Silence is one of those spells you really want to have on deck for a lot of these boss fights. In this case, if you don't do it, as soon as Gut's attacked, she'll start calling for help, which will turn the goblins outside hostile. It's not necessarily that hard of a fight, but it was more than I wanted to get into in this situation. So yeah, Lae'zel's going to start swinging that big doom hammer at Gut, which also stops her from healing. Super handy thing to keep with you even later on into the game for some of these fights. I went ahead and used the action surge there because I just wanted this fight over sooner rather than later. And who's going up next? Yes, Gale has the Spell Sparkler, which gives him lightning charges every time he does damage with the spell or a cantrip. And what's super fun with that is that when you use Magic Missile, since it automatically hits, he automatically gets the charges. So big boom there, and if this goes to another round, he'll be ready to do even more damage. And who's up next? What do we got going on here? Yep, Karlach. And I was debating here, the reason this took so long, I was debating whether or not to have her rage. And it turned out it was pretty much unnecessary, because as you'll see here, boom. And that's it. And that was pretty much the easiest boss fight you're ever going to see. Very minimal resources used. Definitely the easiest of the 3 bosses in the Goblin Camp, especially when you set it up like this. Like and follow for more. Here we have a very easy to miss but also very useful magic item for Baldur's Gate 3. In the Decrepit Sanctuary, which is near Auntie Ethel's tea house, we've got this little wooden chest, and we have the Sparkle Hands. So on a hit with an unarmed attack, the wearer gets 2 lightning charges, and while imbued with lightning charges, attacks against metal constructs and foes wearing metal armor gain advantage. So obviously insanely useful for a monk, but what's neat about it is you can pair it up with other items that give lightning charges, such as, if I can get my computer to cooperate, the Spell Sparkler. When the wielder deals damage with a spell or cantrip, they gain 2 lightning charges. So basically this gives them more than one way to get those lightning charges. And in the case with Will here, because he has the Spell Sparkler, he can get lightning charges with his Eldritch Blast and then have advantage on them later on. I sometimes actually multi-class him into Monk just because the synergy there is so good. Follow for more video game tips, tricks, and insights.